Day 3 of IEM CSGO at the madness that is Gamescom. If you missed yesterday, it was the most ridiculous day of play. You can see it again at plays.tv, and it really is worth watching again because it was fantastic. It was crazy. Now, it is a fun format. You might have seen the rules already, and I know our desk jockeys will go through it again in a bit. But basically, last man standing, that's how this works. Each team had 4 lives when they started. Now, lots of teams down to just 1 or 2 lives. And it is the most intriguing of possibilities of how the winner of the last game gets to pick who plays in the next one. And backstage, myself and a few of the other hosts were trying to go through some of the options earlier on. All I know is my tiny little mind couldn't work out anything beyond a few different scenarios of how it was going to work. What possibly will happen today, though, is somebody gets stabbed in the back with a sharpened Danish. So the winners of yesterday was SK Gaming. Barry, what a game for you. It was a fantastic game.
Yeah, it was really intense. We had the advantage in the start of the game, then I don't know what happened. We lost all the clutch rounds, and yeah, but we come back in the end. I think we was behind 15-12, and then we won in overtime. So.
And one thing I want to show again now was the double-double that Cadian did. If you haven't seen this, we're going to put it on the screen right now. This is the double-double. Talk me through it, because it was the most insane of plays.
It was like, in the start, he told me, should I buy AWP? Then I said, no, I don't know, maybe you should just buy M4. Then he said, AWP or nothing. Then I said, okay. And then, yeah, it's amazing what he did in that round.
Do you think this was the turning point in the game, when this happened?
No, because we lost the round after to Ego, so it didn't really matter. Yeah, but yeah, it was a nice momentum boost for us.
It was insane, and you find it on Twitter, you find it on plays.tv. It was just one of those moments where you think, really? Seriously? It was amazing. Now, I want to ask you a question about map choice, because you're going to choose the map in just a second. You get to choose from 8, which has been chosen by the community. Casper was on Twitter this morning asking for Dust 2 or Mirage. Why?
If we get Dust 2 or Mirage, we get to pick the teams that we want to play. The others, it's going to be like, maybe the teams we want to pick can win those maps, so it's going to be really weird with all the wins. And
am I right in thinking you and your teammates spent 2 hours trying to work out which teams to choose?
Yeah, we thought about all the scenarios, like how do we get at least top 3 without even playing, and I think we got the best scenario for all maps. We thought about all the maps.
And is the Danish alliance still strong?
No.
No, it's not. Really? Is the Danish alliance broken?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into that with our desk jockeys in a second. So first then, let us choose the maps. So we have 8 maps which are going to come up, obviously chosen by the community. You get to choose one. You're hoping for Dust 2 or Mirage. Choose a number.
4.
It's going for 4. What's behind number 4? It's Inferno. So it's neither Dust 2 nor Mirage. Thank you to @Stormbreakers CS. Mirage was up there a couple of times. Dust 2 was there a couple of times. Overpass, Cash and Train. And just to say that once Inferno has been chosen, it won't be played again for the rest of today. So, which 2 teams shall be playing in the first match on day 3?
CLG.
CLG, the team with only 1 life, you son of a gun. Against
TSM.
TSM, CLG. Here we go. Let's get on with the first game today. Thank you very much. Chobra, it's over to you and the guys.
Well, thank you very much, OJ. We've definitely got some stuff to talk about here as we kick off day 3 of the Intel Extreme Masters. Of course, as always, here at Gamescom in Cologne, Germany. I'm joined by D-Man and Natsu to start off the day. First, there's a lot to talk about here, but first, let's see. Do you think he means it when he's like, the Danish alliance no longer there? Because
that's a bluff. That is an obvious bluff. He's like, yeah, no, totally over. TSM CLG. It's like, really? You can say that with a straight face after just saying it's over? I don't think so.
Yeah, not really. I mean, that's not the obvious one. Inferno as well as a map that we know CLG doesn't play Inferno all that much. And even though they had a pretty good showing on it previously, still, we know they're not a team that plays the map a whole lot at all. Yeah. Meanwhile, TSM is arguably the best team in the world on that map. So, yeah, I think the Alliance is still alive and kicking.
Man, at the same time, what a rough week for CLG. Like, even if they win this one, right, just the fact that they've had to play these maps that they know, most other teams know that they're not as used to playing. It's not their strongest suits against opponents who are like, this is our favorite map. We got this. It's just been a rough week for CLG, just getting piled on by the other teams.
It's the name of the game, and I think it's for future. It's good. I mean, they need to widen their map pool, obviously. In this kind of format, like we've been talking about previously in the previous days, when you have a wide map pool, it's really beneficial for you in a format like this. I think for CLG going forward, this is a very, very it's a good experience.
It opens an interesting dynamic for like all the teams out there that are watching and competing. They're looking at it. Obviously, normally you'd have a map veto process, and you can narrow your field down. But obviously, when you start getting to whatever best of 3 tournaments, best of 5 actually we're starting to see a lot more of now.
Right.
And also completely random for a tournament like this. Obviously, it shows like the holes in the lesser teams, the weaker teams, the tier 2s, the tier 3 teams out there. Tier 1 teams generally have probably like 5 maps they're very good on,
Right.
and 2 they're okay on. They'll say, oh, we're terrible on it, but actually they're probably better than the majority teams out there.
Right.
But for the weaker teams, generally they only have like a 2-map pool, and that's really quite limited. And that's obviously why you see them, these polar opposite results. You'll see them suddenly on, like, I don't know, like for example, Renegades, you'll see them on Cash and Inferno. They'll be like, oh, they're having great results. And then they'll get on the Dust 2 and they're just 16-2. Bam, done, smashed.
Yeah.
Because they just aren't as good on them. So it's really something that the teams obviously need to really focus and practice on. Maybe it's also a hole in the fact that they are traveling every single week. They don't get a chance to practice.
I mean, right, that's something we talked about. Even for the top teams, it's like, even if you practice it, you're probably going to do the same routines. You only have a set playbook for the maps that you're not as strong in, that you don't have as much experience in, even for tier 1 teams. And that's what we're going to start seeing if we play these tournaments, where you might be forced to play a map that you haven't played in the last month.
There's this weird dynamic right now in Counter-Strike, obviously, where they're only really boot camping when it comes to, say, a major or something like that. Whereas probably go back a year, every tournament that was coming up, there'd be a little boot camp before it.
Yeah.
And now it's gotten to this crazy weird stage, although obviously we heard from Hastro yesterday talking about how much Envy had been boot camping for this tournament. So, it's just a case of time, really, I think, for everyone now.
It's gone to a point where teams have to
pick and choose.
But I mean, when they go to tournaments and when they play online stuff, you have to treat certain aspects of it. You have to try things out. There's like, you don't have the option of grinding, practicing and grinding that. So you have to use official matches often to try things out. And it can go horribly wrong. Something that, in theory, sounds like a great idea, it probably is. Could be that it's not at all when you actually try it. So teams that's a bit of a tough situation that a lot of teams are in, pretty much everyone, because everyone's schedule is super busy.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that what you bring up is a very good point and a fun point to look forward to, that at some point you have to start taking these risks on a setting that there's a lot of pressure on, and you just have to accept it. Either it works or it doesn't, but then that's also a learning experience. It's going to be a very interesting dynamic as we go forward in how teams view certain matches or matchups. Other teams, right, their relationships are going to start to change. But at least this week, what we know is CLG, they've got that target now. They have 1 life left. We'll bring up the chart here to see how things have panned out in the last 2 days of the Intel Extreme Masters, so you guys are all caught up to date. Again, we are playing the last man standing tournament format here. Every team started with 4 lives, but CLG, they've only played 3 matches, and they've unfortunately lost all 3 so far, down to 1 heart. Of course, joining them in that 1 heart status is going to be the Renegades, but they were immune from this match because they just played that last one against SK yesterday, nail-biting end. But CLG now having to play against TSM. So let's think of the scenarios here, right? Because the obvious result that most people are expecting is that TSM beats CLG. I'm holding off that that's not going to happen, but that's just me. I feel like most other people seeing that TSM will probably beat CLG. We're fairly certain that the alliance between SK and TSM is still strong there for the Danish brothers. What are we seeing for TSM? How does this pan out for both them and SK?
Well, they have to pick Envy or Mouse. You can see they're obviously, because they're going to be the only 2 that have got 3 matches played, so they have to pick one of those teams. This question is, do they pick them against each other and lose the chance of controlling the picks, which is effectively what's been going on between these teams. The French-Australians had full control yesterday.
That's true,
and then today, can we see the Danish in full control? Well, if they do, that means SK are going to have to pit their wits against either Mouse or Envy.
I think it goes to a situation where the obvious choice would be to have Envy and Mouse play against one another, but that would not be good potentially for SK going further. It would be fine for TSM, who's a strong team that can beat any of these teams. But SK is going to be the one that is in trouble if Envy and Mouse play one another, because they obviously don't have an alliance with SK going on. So they're probably going to be putting you could even see potentially down the line TSM and SK play one another.
You could also have this situation where they go, you know what, we're going to put Envy versus Renegades.
I mean,
and you're going to knock out Renegades. Your little alliance,
Oh, man.
you're going to crumble it yourself.
That would be heartbreaking, because we heard yesterday, I mean, they were all aboard that alliance. Envy, I mean, cheering for Renegades in their matches, really supporting them backstage. But that could very well happen. As OJ said, the sharpened Danish could come through, probably for TSM, just turn on SK. I mean, I'm thinking if they say, all right, well, we kind of want to have Envy and Mouse play against each other anyway, then you just go and talk to them and be like, guys, we've already knocked out CLG. Let's just knock the other two out. Just have SK Renegades play against each other again. Leave us out of it. Us three, we'll figure it out on day 4. That talk could very well come through, and SK's just left there kind of hanging out to dry, and they don't have an option other than to play Renegades and maybe on Cash again, and that could be a rough one, of course, for SK. I mean, they did win that very last one, but the matchup between those two guys, 2-1 right now, favor of Renegades. Renegades definitely showed up to play yesterday. It's a scary scenario for SK, I think, going forward. You don't really know when you have to kind of make that choice of, do we also just give up on this alliance? Like, someone has to let go of that rope first. And usually you'll have the advantage, at least mentally, if you let go of it first. But it could come back to bite you.
Today is definitely the day where obviously we're going to see teams going out. CLG may even be out in the first game of the day. Like I was saying last night, I think we're going to see possibly 3 teams go today. We may even see more. I mean, if the situation does roll out, CLG go out, TSM pick Mouse Envy. If Envy come out and win that again, then Mouse are down to 1 life, and suddenly you've got Mouse and Renegades left on 1 life. So it's entirely possible those 3 could go out very early on today.
You're right.
And then SK are left, and suddenly it's like both TSM and Envy just turn on SK. So that Danish alliance, don't think it's going to last the day.
But at that same time, I don't think SK would mind if they're like, well, we're left in the top 3
They'll be happy in the top 3.
You know what? You guys can turn on us at this point. We'll be satisfied with day 3 or 3rd place. I mean, also SK has netted some wins themselves, so they've got, of course, that extra prize pool. You get $500 per win. That's the other unfortunate story here for CLG. It's not about just the prospect that you might be knocked out first seeing just 4 matches in a row, but the fact that you haven't had an option, at least gaining yourself a little extra pocket cash to feel a little confidence boost here. You came into this tournament, you just got nailed on the weaknesses that you had. They were just like, you don't know this map very well. You're going to have to play against the hardest opponents in this tournament. Boom, boom, 4 times in a row. And that could be the end of the story for CLG.
And day 1, we were looking at it thinking, oh, Renegade's getting picked on, bless them. Yesterday and today now, CLG have just been beaten up. There's just poor old CLG. They've not had a map that they play on.
Yeah.
They're Inferno, like, we had Hayes on here yesterday. He said we haven't really played it properly in 6 months. Which actually blows my mind how they haven't focused on Inferno, like one of the most common maps.
Actually, there is a logic to that. I would, if I want to leave out a map, I will rather leave out an Inferno or a Dust 2 or a Mirage instead of an Overpass or a Cobblestone.
Right.
Because you have a lot of teams that are super good on maps like Inferno, Mirage, and Dust 2. You have team, like Inferno, TSM.
I see.
Fnatic.
So you're thinking of the underdog story. They want to take away the best maps and come in with a map they have a chance on, like a Cobble.
If you want to have one specific map, you always veto no matter what. Rather be a normal map.
Yeah.
Because, there's always going to be strong teams on those certain maps, on those normal maps, because everyone's played them so much.
Oh, okay. So you might as well target the maps that the other teams are also not practicing as much, because it's going to be a bigger gap you have to close if you're starting on something like Dust.
Inferno's got to the stage where there's probably 10 teams in the world that will just destroy you on them
Yeah.
There's some very good Inferno.
That's good logic.
When it comes to CLG, though, they've had a pretty good showing. I don't think anyone really expected a lot from them, because they've not been super impressive outside of the NA qualifier they went to last weekend, was it?
Yeah.
So, they've had some good showings. Obviously, there's a lot of weaknesses when it comes to their terrace play, but their CT play is quite solid. So that's half of the job done already. So if they could just get their T play more consistently working on all maps around, I think they're going to be they could be a really good team down the line.
Yeah. You obviously got to look at the SIVA result, and they had a substitute, so you can never take too much away when there's a substitute player in there.
Yep.
But they're definitely improving. I think overall, obviously we were looking at the NA scene, even just last year, the end of last year, tail end, and they were getting destroyed, smashed, absolutely knocked out everywhere. I distinctly remember the Face It tournament, obviously Everyone went over there. Renegades came in, and they destroyed the Americans. So everyone was just like, wow, America is really bad right now. But now, obviously, we're starting to see Cloud9. Well, actually, more importantly, we're starting to see steady structure in all the teams. They're suddenly getting gaming houses, like CLG are in the CLG gaming house in LA. We obviously the Luminosity guys that have just changed hands in the form of Keed. So you've got Keed that are in a gaming house, or Luminosity, or whatever they're called these days. Mythic, they went to call Mythic or Mystic, I'm not too sure where they went, where Devil Walk went. They're in a gaming house. Cloud9 guys actually aren't in a gaming house at all, are they? But still, they are by far the best in North America. So we're starting to see a lot more structure in North America, which is probably why we're starting to see such big improvements.
I think Cloud9 is a great example of just finding the right chemistry with people. I mean, I think a lot of people were like, okay, who's Freakus? What is he doing in that team? Had a rough start, then picked it up, and now when everyone got to listen to their comms and everything, they see the chemistry going on, that everyone has a purpose, not only in game as a player, but also in their personalities. They really complement one another. And it's something. It is the whole chemistry thing is something that you don't just. You can build it to an extent, but there has to be natural chemistry between people.
Right.
It's the positivity adds to the team, and and actually, if you look at it, from an outside perspective, obviously, say bringing Envious into it for here. Obviously, the two changes we saw, everyone's like, wow, like even yourself were talking about Shocks can change it, but internally, we have no idea the barriers that were going. Obviously, when we had
Astro
talking about mentally they had to be a change because they were all sort of on easy street effectively.
This is
and
where
was all going wrong.
What you just mentioned with the whole structure, that's where it comes into play, right? If you have a third party, whether it's a manager, a coach, someone that's able to look at it and kind of verbalize it, because the players, I mean, like Hester was saying, kind of everyone felt it. Everyone felt that there needed to be a change. Something was off. But also, if you're playing, like, you kind of have that responsibility, like, well, we need to make it work. Like, in some ways, you might still clash, but you're like, well, we need to play this out. We need to make it happen. But you need someone else sometimes to say, all right, I think it's simply just a matter of we need to swap things out, regardless of talent, regardless of skill, maybe even regardless of role. We just need certain other voices, other minds here to make a five, like a whole pentagon of chemistry rather than just like a triangle and then two people lying on the side.
And also leadership is one factor. I think NA teams have lacked a lot of, like, there's always been some kind of clashes. It also comes down to chemistry as well. Previously, Cloud9 as well had that problem where a lot of people wanted to lead the team to their own path, their own way. So, I mean, that's one thing. It could be an issue with CLG as well. If, like, do they have enough of a strong personality when it comes to leading? And because when you look at them play, initially they do a lot of good things in strategies on T side as well, but it usually crumbles towards the end when you actually have to do the last pick. Like the last push is when it crumbles, and that's when really strong leadership comes into play. When you're making sure everyone's pushing together, going in, and just playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday with Hayes. That, I mean, he admitted it too. He's like, you're right. I mean, we go in with confidence. We start rounds with confidence. You nailed it on the head. He admitted. I mean, it was very apparent that they know where that issue is. But at the same time, he was telling us. But at the same time, we have been improving. Like D-Man just mentioned, we have been showing progress. And the fact that he's very self-aware of what they need to work on going forward seems to be a good sign. The real question here is, I mean, is day 3 gonna be any different, especially against TSM on Inferno? They have one life left, guys. I mean, for these guys, they haven't had a chance. No one on CLG's had a chance to pick a box on the esports game show. They're missing out. They haven't had the full experience at the Intel Extreme Masters for Gamescom. They just haven't had a chance to really have a say in how the tournament plays out.
But if CLG were to pull off the miracle here and take down TSM, which in itself is a glorious clash for me, CLG, TSM, and Counter-Strike. Obviously, these boys both started up. They were the original League of Legends teams that both rose up. Actually, ironically, CLG came from TSM, from Solo Mid. That's where Hotshot GG came from. Okay. And he went off and created his own team. So the rivalry was born between the two. So, these are effectively massive rivals in esports. Obviously, they're new organizations to the world of Counter-Strike, but they are still huge organizations. But for CLG to come and pick up a win here would absolutely blow this tournament apart, because A, it would put TSM on 2 lives, and B,
that's true.
CLG in control. What would they do? We were talking about freedom yesterday with Hayes.
And maybe that would be maybe one thing that could push them over that limit of being a team that can come close of winning. bigger teams, but never manages to. When they actually finally do that, that could be the confidence boost they really needed to get over that barrier.
At the same time, when we were coming in, everyone said TSM probably the favorite. But for now, I mean, sure, there are matchups, there are maps that come into play. But Envy, the one sitting on 4 lives, TSM did take that loss to Envy. They've been working on this alliance with SK. We haven't seen as much of TSM though. After that matchup with Envy, they've had a little bit, favorable, whether it's map selection or matchups here with by the help of SK.
We saw them against Mouse Sports though, and they were strong. That was a strong showing for them. Mouse were just pushed apart. 11-4 T-side on Dust 2 against Mouse Sports. That's a big statement right there. So I would expect them to come out swinging here.
Yeah.
If CLG don't get the CT side start, I would expect to see probably a 16-4 type score going.
Well, the interesting thing is, though, yesterday they knew, I mean, Hayes talked about how actually for us, like, just coming in after we lost those first 2 games, it was all about the knife round. We have to start on the CT side. That's the only way we're going to have a chance, and that they proved it. Once they got that choice, they had a chance. Well, ladies and gentlemen at home, as we get ready to start this match, please tell us what you think. Do you think CLG can survive? Do you think America will survive here at the Intel Extreme Masters? Will they have a chance? Tell us on Twitter with hashtag IEM. Tell us on Facebook. Of course, you can tell us after you watch the matches on YouTube. And if you missed any of the highlights, again, Plays.tv, you can see that double-double for yourself. Take a closer look, just to put it on loop for yourself on your desktop background so you can watch it, because, man, that was an intense moment, too. Let's talk about that.
There was a lot of big moments in that game.
Yeah,
it was the double deagle as well, I seem to recall. That was a crazy moment, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, Nico was going big. Cadian was going huge. I mean, all of SK really picked it up towards the end, but at the same time, Renegades had those moments where they turned it around. You could see Sponge just getting absolutely mental in the booth for his team with the fans, and I saw him walking in today. Renegades, they're in it again to win it. They come in, they're fully interested. All right, day 3, let's start it off like we started day 2. They're looking excited, but they will have to wait at least until the end of this match.
I hope they don't start like they finished last night.
Oh, that was...
Especially with JKS. If anyone missed the show match, he didn't have a good showing.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't get to watch it, but I heard it didn't go so well.
It's all right. Asa came in and carried him, so it was fine. But yeah, he was getting one popped, but twice running actually, the same guy.
But yeah, for this match, I mean, like you mentioned, CT side is going to be. I think that's going to be the one chance they have if they can get a solid CT side going on. Which actually they played really good on Inferno CT side. They had a lot of dynamic play. They were playing both aggressive and passive. And the timing of when they chose to do that was correct as well. So if they can keep that up, if they can get the opping going, the JDM can get the op down, and he can,
Well, I mean, they took Envy to 16-13. Like that's something we didn't expect, because Envy themselves are a very good team. But obviously, TSM have been this unit. Envy is like a 2 weeks into the lineup, so there's going to be weaknesses there. Wouldn't expect to see the weaknesses in TSM. TSM have taken the likes of Fnatic on Inferno, so it is absolutely possible we could see a golf score coming out here. Golf score, that's a really bad phrase for it. I should say American football score. That would be
so far
more fitting. But
CLG has been the master of knife run. I think they've won like every one of them. That's giving you.
Yeah, as they said, they know how important it is. That's, I guess, if you're the weaker team, you've got to get the side advantage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were joking about it yesterday, but Hayes was like, well, but for us, I mean, we go into that one with strategy. We're like, we need to win this. Like, this is where it all comes down, is we need to win it. We'll see if they can do it again, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we're waiting for the first match to kick off here. We'll see who gets to take their choice of side on Inferno. CLG versus TSM. CLG fighting for their last life.
CLG are on the CT side, so we'll see if they do come out. Well, they're looking good. They're looking good.
There we go. They play it out like this every time.
So that means I would assume they're going to go CT side.
Right.
They've got to go
150%. They will. There's no other way. There's no way around it.
Yeah, we'll see again. How much momentum can they gain, though? Yesterday, it was always like just good enough, but they didn't have a clear edge after that first half. Today, can they make a difference here? It is a strong opponent in TSM on Inferno. Ladies and gentlemen, CLG fighting for their last life. TSM also trying to continue their alliance with SK here in day 3 of the Intel Extreme Masters at Gamescom.
Thank you very much, Chilburn. I have to say, joining me is Anders. We've not cast together since the Tech 9 was imbalanced.
Oh, I see what you do. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's been a while.
When was this? This was back in 2013 at some point.
I think it's been 2 years, Anders.
it
2
has.
years since you've been sat next to me, gracing me with your presence. I don't know. It's been far too long, that's for sure. Let's talk a little bit about CLG versus TSM. First of all, though, I just want to say that Barry is a rubbish liar. Is there a Danish conspiracy going on? Absolutely not, OJ. Who do you pick? TSM CLG. Very #1 liar EU.
I will say this though, he did keep exactly the same face throughout the whole interview, no matter what would happen. So he's got that going for him, but I doubt very seriously if that was an honest answer as well. Looks like we're already into the pistol round, and this is unusual. Tarek pushing down middle for CLG, gonna run right into Carrigan and takes him down, and definitely the Danish team was not expecting that, and that's actually pretty cool. They caught them off guard, but Device is there with a reply, and that's gonna keep things back in favor of TSM, especially now as Sipnix and Cajun pick up a kill, each leaving Cutler and Finesse.
Yeah, JDM there seemed to be sleeping somewhat as Cutler actually coming in. Double headshot onto Device and Cajun B. And all of a sudden, Dupree is now last man left alive. Bomb down here up top of mid. He's got one man by Arch. That's Finesse. Let's see if he can get in there and actually get the kill. No, Finesse going to come out on top of this one. We were talking a little bit before this one and saying, you know, Inferno for CLG. Actually, yesterday, we saw them obviously lose to Envy on Inferno. It was 16-13. Their CT side was actually really, really good. So this is not an impossible task for CLG.
No, I think you're absolutely right. They had a lockdown CT side very nearly. I think they played it 10-5, but they also ended up in a situation where those 5 rounds they lost were actually fairly close, at least some of them. So I think they've got a decent shot here, and that double kill from Cutler really changed that round. It's not often you get to catch TSM off guard like that. I haven't actually seen many people even try and push mid like that in the pistol rounds. That's a very brave indeed. And you were talking about the Tech 9s, Joe, and they brought 5 of them with armor. Feels like they might end up with a... Well, actually, they got 2 people in apartments that usually would indicate that they're going to end up running back.
Well, second round force, and with the kill onto Cutler there, we'll see what that opens up for them. Smoke's already down here over by the banana site, so that basically means they have to wait around here. Looks like there's going to be a couple of flashes thrown in there just for good measure. And then, as you expected, a push over towards this A bomb site. But TSM, a man to the good. Dupree and Device both, though, below half health at this point. So we'll see how they manage to pull this one off. It looks like the push is going to be coming around. There's Hayes taking down Dupree from balcony. And JDM on site as well. This is not going to be an easy task for TSM, but they come in and Cajun gets the kill.
Tarek with a quick reply there. It's going to be a 4v3 now, and as Tarek does get the kill, it's now looking... Well, TSM, they have them in advantage, but they still haven't got the bomb down. There it is. Tarek and Finesse now have to try and find a way back in here. No kit and no grenades either to try and do this. This is actually not going to be that easy for the American team. If they lose this round, it could turn around on them. And there's Device coming out of Boiler Room to take down Finesse, leaving Tarek in a 1v3, and he has to run away. That is unusual. That the initial kill from Pit only happened because Dupree did not have any head armor. So I thought for a moment maybe those SMGs were really going to work out, but I think that was maybe CLG trying to be a bit greedy on the economic side, hoping that those SMGs would net them a lot of money in the second round, and instead the Tech 9s were just a little bit better.
Well, irony at its finest. I start off talking about Tech 9s, and we see TSM coming in here, round 2, winning the round. And, well, that's kind of spoiling the party for CLG. You know, they've got a job to do here. They've got 1 life remaining. They lose this, they are the 6th place team in the Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom. And it's just a little bit disheartening for them, really. I mean, winning pistol, thinking, right, we're all good. We get to start CT after we won knife. We are all safe, fine and dandy, but round number 2, taken out there by those Tech 9s. See if they can bounce back, though. If we look down the weapons, obviously, a bit of a mixed bunch for them here, but armor picked up mostly across the board. Only JDM sticking with a full eco at this point. And, of course, there is that FAMAS from Tarek that he saved from last round.
You got to think JDM at this point is hoping that he can pick up that AWP quickly at some point and shot down at least part of the middle with it. He was really good at doing that yesterday. He was covering the arch side of middle and did a fine job. One of the really cool things about CLG yesterday was Cutler's ability to call a really wide array of CTU setups that really left Envy in a bit of a tough position. So I'm hoping that they're going to keep trying to do that. Though this round does start off with the unarmored CT player getting taken out. It feels like TSM are really playing this round slowly, just wanting to get the perfect setup and trying to avoid any kind of stack for CLG.
Absolutely no need to be fast at this point, you know, sit back, try and figure out what CLG are going to go for. At this point, they do have a 5 versus 4 advantage, but that'll be cancelled out here by the FAMAS. But it looks like they want to go for this B side anyway there. Tarik getting himself kill number 2. Let's see if he can take Carrigan here as well. That second box will finally be dropped here by Dupree, but we still have FNS on the side, but he will eventually go down. Bomb's going to be planted, but they've done a decent job here, especially Tarik, of course, getting those initial couple of kills. Xyp9x and Carrigan with the bomb down, though. Let's see if CLG can get back in.
It's going to be a 2v2 now. They do not have a kit. They've got to move a little bit faster than this, and you can tell TSM are just trying to buy time here. CLG moving a bit closer, and Xyp9x not exposing himself at all. He wants them to walk into the crossfire. Nice shot from Hayes, taking out Xyp9x. Carrigan spray in the smoke. Knife is out, stabbing Carrigan with the Tech 9 again to take down Hayes. What a close round. That could have probably gone either way, and I've got to say, Finesse, he tried his very best in the background to stay alive and not get caught. I think the bomb was planted with about 8 or 7 seconds left. If they didn't check back a sight, he probably could have won that round simply by darting out and killing the bomb planter. But scary round anyway for a TSM. They survived with only 1 rifle, so minimal economy as well.
Yeah, eco party here for CLG. Couple of P250s being picked up across the board, but generally, this should be a TSM round. And there is the first push that's coming in. It's going to be a couple of Mach 10 kills for Device. Making bank with that for sure. And TSM can just rock on in towards this B bomb site. JDM and Hayes will be coming from CT spawn. So that Cutlet in mid as well. But this should be a pretty simple round. There is once again the Mach 10 from Device. Actually a hat trick of kills for him this round. Cutler out, last man left alive in mid. He'll be dropped by Xyp9x. Easy round really on the board for TSM. Finally though, we are going to see CLG now with a bit of cash to spend.
So I'm not surprised that this is what TSM seem to be doing.
But as we see, a quick smoke there, and you have to slow things right down. There's 45 seconds remaining on the round. Smoke coming out wasn't exactly brilliant there from Tarik. I'm not sure he quite meant to place that as he did. Finesse and Tarik will combine here to get the first 2. Still 2 men there outside of the side, but there is once again Tarik from inside of the pond. And finally we will be getting Carrigan coming in. Will get the bomb down as well, but it's a 1v3. He's got to go clutch here.
Yeah, surely this can't happen. Carrigan peeking out, getting one, spraying another one and turning a 180. He's going to get the double and falls back. And here's the big thing. He's got that Molotov. JDM does not have a smoke to cancel it. If it goes down and he doesn't have a kit, it could be awful. Carrigan, wait, he's going to get all 3 and clutch it. And TSM, they end up winning that round. That should have never happened. He was sandwiched in between CT spawn and Banana, and that is not a winnable position, but it was anyway.
I mean, we talk about often, you know, you've got 3 men left. They'll all peak one by one, and you lose her. There were 2 people on Banana pushing together there, and Carrigan still manages to get both of them. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from Carrigan. And that will leave us at 4-1 to TSM, and a little bit of a sad situation for CLG. Bunch of P250s, 5-7, CZ for Finesse. It's going to take a small little miracle to bring them through on this one. Good flashbang will certainly help though, and Tarik will get through. Gets the AK as well from Carrigan, from Cajun, sorry. And actually as Dink Device here, he's down to just 18 HP, and will get the 1 tap onto him as well. So, funnily enough, as we say, hard situation for CLG to come out on top of. Good little flash play, and they are now 3 versus 2 to the good over TSM.
And I think we spent a significant portion of the first and second day criticizing CLG for making these pistols buys without buying flashbangs. This time they had 5, and it worked out brilliantly. So I'm very excited that they did that. Now Tarik's in the corner, and with a little bit of luck, if they push in, he could actually finish this round. There's only 30 seconds left for TSM.
They got to push this one. Bomb currently is there as well. There's a flashbang coming over. And TSM having both men blind. There's the smoke coming in, and there's the spray from Tarik as well. He's going to take down Xyp9x. Do have Dupree, less than half health left. Against 3 from CLG, and it'll be Finesse that comes around the side. Headshot with the CZ, and that is an eco round going the way of Counter Logic Gaming.
I actually reckon that's a critical round in this first half. You got to remember as well, yesterday, Envy got only 5 rounds on the terrorist side and still ended up winning the game. So the fact that TSM is already at 4-2, I think it's very important that CLG won that round. They need to, their goal must right now be to make this 11-4 and just try and lock this down. And if they can just break TSM's economy, if they can force an eco here, that would be big. Mac 10 on Cutler, really.
As you do when you're trying to make all that monies. And he's stolen from Carrigan as well, which probably makes it all that much sweeter. And you see a slow start again from TSM. Been fairly defensive when they've had guns in hand. Not wanting to push too heavily. There's a smoke off towards Arch. And we'll cut 2 men from CLG completely out of the defense there. Force them to slightly switch up positions, but TSM not going to actually push on from this one.
They're really trying to buy some time here, and they've forced CLG quite a bit back. I think Carrigan thinks that corner is checked, and it obviously isn't, so this could be a pretty big problem. Going to be pushing in, and that's an easy kill for Finesse to take down. It was a 4-1 stack for CLG as well, and now they're going to fall back from Banana having the opening kill. This, again, Cutler is calling this Inferno CT side absolutely brilliantly. Now TSM is walking into a trap.
Flash is coming over. Here come TSM. Let's see what CLG can do on the defense. It's going to be Tariq Weiss Bulls. Let's see if he can actually land a shot here. We'll get dinked and then finished off by Dupree. Finesse there. Coming from construction as well. Actually knocked Dupree down to just 7 health. Will finally finish him off as well. And Zipnik's only got 16 health as well. So actually, TSM not exactly got the biggest health pool right now. Let's see what they could do with this one. Hayes will get one. There is Cajun B managing to double up. They've already got on the defuse here though. Device needs to actually pick this one. The defuse will come in and JDM says thank you very much. He dies at the end, but they managed to win the round.
Wow, that was ice cold by JDM. Once your teammate goes down, imagine the panic. You know if he steps out there and you're gone, you're going to lose another round. You'll be ecoing, and TSM will bounce up to 5 rounds, and you'll be stuck at 2. Great round there from JDM, very impressive. And Cajun, I mean, almost managed to win that round for them just with that double kill, but that was not an easy defuse for JDM by any means. And now TSM looks like they're going to try and change up the pace very quick here onto Quad. And Dupree almost getting caught here. In fact, he will. Hayes besting him with the FAMAS and going for a 2nd kill. But now he's going to be careful jumping in from above. No, it's going to be Cutler helping out. Sipnix goes down and Carrigan to fall next. It's all on Device in a 1v4. Trying to see if he can at least get the bomb down here. But he's surely not going to win the round. Finesse swinging around the corner. Device picking up a 3rd kill. And now he's actually in a 1v2. Going to smoke out and spray down Finesse. Almost a 1v5 for Device. But Tariq will finish the round.
And that was one of those scary moments again for CLG. Oh, you know, it's just 1v5, guys. Just kill him off. We're all good. Oh, wait, we lost it. Oh, wait. This is really bad for us. In the end, though, the last 2 did end up combining to get that. We are tied back up. But as you rightly mentioned, Envy getting 5 rounds yesterday on their terrorist side was still able to win that game over CLG. Actually, I think it was a 9-6 halftime, so 5-6 rounds. Close enough either way.
It was something like that.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of work to do if it's going to be a scoreline like that for CLG. And TSM here, Tech9's in hand. Worked out nicely for them in round number 2. Let's see if they can do it this time around. JDM actually looking to smoke. Will actually get Carrigan there as well. But Cajun and Zipnik's coming in. Device will pick off Tariq as well. And Tech9 working out again for TSM. You have to wonder sometimes, honestly. You just feel like every time we buy Tech9s, we win. Why don't we just buy Tech9s every round?
They weren't doing this until you mentioned it, Joe. What have you done? I mean, that is incredible. 2nd round, you're right, and then it works here again in the 9th round, leaving CLG in the 10th round with absolutely no money at all. That was a devastating blow, and it was the change of pace again. They were very, very aggressive, very fast, and CLG weren't ready for it.
Leaves them 5-4 behind. As you rightly mentioned, ecoing up here. Just a couple of pistols being bought out for them. No armor, no nades across the board. Actually, that's technically a lie, because Cutler does have 1 flash, which we mentioned that earlier. You know, the whole, it's worth it, boys. That 1 flash can certainly be worth it.
It's $200 investment. You have to do it. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. See if it's going to work this time. Hayes is already fairly low. And Cutler's still holding on to that flashbang. He's in the pit, so he's in a good position to pop it out. If they walk up quad, he can definitely set up his teammates for it.
Well, let's see. Cutler just backing away a little bit there. And well, the flashbang, as far as I saw, didn't really blind anyone. JDM does get one kill, but like dominoes, they're going to fall here. JDM on the site itself, and TSM will walk in there. Fairly convincing round with CLG on the eco. Losing just the one man, 6-4 TSM.
That was very depressing. I think Cutler's flashbang actually sort of clipped the top of the balcony and ended up in pit instead with himself. So otherwise,
that's a $200 self-flashing investment right there.
It's like fireworks, you know. You're just sending bills into the sky to explode. That's basically what was happening. But otherwise, they actually had 4 people ready to bounce on that grenade. So yeah, that is definitely depressing. Now they have, you know, 4 chances to throw a good flashbang here. Should work.
Well, that could end great for them, but you got to feel it might not. One already gone out there from Tarek, but another eco here for CLG. Let's have a look. Cutler going to get a little bit of a challenge here by quad in just a second. Actually will manage to finish off the pre. JDM coming in as well, so they've got 2 kills here. Leaves us in a 4 versus 3 scenario. Bit of pressure this round for TSM. The flashes from Device will go over to B, but seemingly an A hit here for TSM. Occasion beat pushing up. Cutler inside the pit, not exactly the healthiest right now with just 14 HP remaining. JDM once again will look at them on the back, and he does manage to clip him off, but TSM still got enough men there. Will now get that bomb in position. It's Tarek and Finesse. And Finesse is already down.
Tarek, no armor, 1 AWP, and in a clutch situation, bomb ticking away again. He does not have any kit, so he has to move fast, and if they don't show themselves, I don't see how he could possibly find them, and he's going to try for it anyway. Device ends up taking out with another triple kill, and just to catch everyone up, Device is at 21-5, just 12 rounds in. Yeah, that is unreal.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice that whatsoever, but Device is somewhat, loading the entire TSM team on his back right now, carrying them to victory. Just to put that into perspective, the closest in terms of frags in the entire game is Tarek with 10 kills. On his own team, Carrigan's the closest with 9, so Device having an absolutely monstrous game so far. TSM, though, after a couple of ecos in a row, will now have weapons in hand once again. JDM again opting for the AWP. And he's got to hit the shots. No doubt about that one. There were questions before the event. Can JDM, really come up with the goods with anything but the AWP? And I think we can safely say he's had some pretty fantastic rounds without that as well. We did here, though, see Tarek going down. So already CLG losing out on that man advantage. There's a nice little flash around and a double kill coming in from Hayes. Can't make it through, though. Dupree will take him down.
That's a really good return from Hayes, but it's still in a 3v3. Device is very low. He got the entry frag, but he almost died as well. And now look at this. They're being wrapped around. JDM going to miss a shot, but time is ticking down for TSM. Another few seconds, and they're going to be stabbed in the back, and it's not going to be fun. Finesse coming up behind. Device taking 1 and 2 on 3 health, and now it's a 1v2, 20 seconds. The bomb dropped that quad, and he puts out a Molotov, but I don't think that's going to stop Finesse. Now, he's got the AWP in 15 seconds. Is he really going to be able to do this? He's putting down the bomb. Finesse trying to move closer, and Device cancelling it now. 8 seconds left inside the bomb site. He's putting it down. Finesse charging on it, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Very well played. Gets the double kill and the flank all the way from Banana, and a much-needed round for CLG.
Well, we were talking about Device racking up the kills. He managed to get himself up to 23 from that round. Almost working out for him, but just too little HP and, quite frankly, just too little time on the clock remaining. Didn't have many options left open. Nicely played by CLG there in the end, but that brings them up to 7-5. And we were mentioning yesterday, losing out to Envy despite the 9-6 half-time. TSM already got 7 on the board. This is going to be tough for them.
Yeah, very, very tricky. And CLG actually pulling a very similar round here. Device with a double kill, Xyp9x with one, and Tarek and Finesse are left. And I am actually very curious. I don't recall from memory, but I want to know if this is the same round, if it's the 13th round, because they did this against Envy, the aggressive push middle. If they're doing it in the same round now, it'd be very easy for TSM to have looked at the demo from yesterday and said, all right, well, we expect something similar. So someone find out if it was the 13th round yesterday. I don't think it was. I think it was a little bit earlier, like around the 9th or 10th. I hope they're switching it up. Now, if they are, that would be a great insight into how clever CLG are trying to be here and how much work they're putting into it. But now, 2v4.
And it's Finesse who's going to peek out, gets himself the kill onto Dupree. Will finish off Carrigan as well. Device coming back up though, and it's a 2 versus 1 now, albeit with TSM having a disadvantage in terms of health remaining for both Xyp9x and Device, but they're in onto this A bomb site, and we see Tarek is backed all the way off towards B. This is actually doable for Tarek, but it's all about landing his shots right now as he switches out to the 5-7. Reload of the M4. As I said, just 31 HP between the 2 remaining TSM members. This is very possible for Tarek.
Trying to see if he can get a little bit closer. He picked up the kit in transit as well, so he's at least got the time, but going to be walking in and they'll team up on him. That's Device with now 4 kills in the round. Joe, he could legitimately get a 30 bomb in one half. I can't even remember if that's ever happened before. I can't remember if I've ever casted a game where someone got 30 kills in 15 rounds.
I don't know what he's had for breakfast, but I think I'll be having some of that tomorrow morning as well. Absolutely insane start to the day for Device. You know, a lot of players say, I'm not great first game of the day, you know, I need a little bit of time to warm up, and Device says, you're talking rubbish, mate, what you on about? 27 kills, 1 assist, 6 deaths only. And we're only in round 14 of the game. Sounds a little bit insane, but Device having possibly a game of his life at this point.
Yeah, I don't even think that would be an exaggeration here. Maybe he ordered up like a quadruple espresso or something. It have to be something fairly extreme at this point. 14 rounds in, Cajun checking top banana, and CLG this time holding from inside the bomb site. So again, they are trying to switch it up a lot. They've had multiple different types of defenses over here at banana, both inside, outside, having Finesse play alone and 4 people at A. So they are trying to switch it up all the time, but TSM have all the answers, it seems. Unlike Envy, who were definitely confused and had a hard time reading the setup, Carrigan seems to be doing a really good job coming up with an answer here. Device going to be throwing in, and there's 2 people waiting.
Here we go then, push coming through. Let's not forget this is pistols and armor only for CLG, and they're already down to just 2 men remaining. JDM will finally get a kill back for CLG, but feels like it might just be a little bit too late. There's Xyp9x through the smoke, and Hayes now all on his lonesome. Up against 4 with just a 5-7. Xyp9x will push on through, and that is going to be another round going the way of TSM. Possible for them to hit those double figures here on the T side of Inferno. Looking grim for CLG with their 1 remaining life.
If Device doesn't get a kill this round, there is no justice at all in the universe. He's at 29, 2 and 7. He has to get 30 in this half. Otherwise, it just doesn't seem fair, does it? CLG, they must know that this is a very tough position. I don't think they're going to give up at all, but they're definitely in a struggle of a lifetime here. I like the fact that Cutler's pushing up this aggressively in apartments. Again, it's another variation of a CT type setup that they're trying to see if they can make work. And Cajun looking for an opening here. Again, TSM, they seem to have just this default setup where they just wait out for CLG to do anything, and if they don't get too much aggression, they check top banana. Once they've cleared that, then they've got pretty much the whole map to play around with, and then they execute whatever they feel like, and it seems to be working quite well.
And it's nothing flashy, is it, really, from TSM? We almost said the same yesterday against Mousewatts on Dust 2. Play it standard, you know? Just play it smart from the very get-go. And that is what's working out for them so far this round. Again, CLG struggling for cash, and really TSM just managing to wipe the floor with them. Device this round looking for number 30 will actually go down, so he's not going to be able to get in there. and drop the 30 bomb in the first half. So very close, but just a little bit far away. It's Hayes that's the last man left here, up against 2 from TSM. Does have an AK, he's got a kit, bit of armor in there as well, so not an impossible scenario for Hayes, but he's going to have to come up big with him, split left and right of him here as he goes into the bomb site.
Oh, wow, the Molotov going down as well. No chance at all that Cajun going to pick up a double kill. Joe, I rather do that thing where you'll bang your foot against the kitchen table when you're up for something to drink at night, and it's really painful, than watching Device fail to get that 30th kill again. Now, I can't deal with that. That's very, very painful for me.
I mean, that's just grounds to be incredibly angry, right? You're like, guys, I know I've had an incredible half, but I got to 29 and not 30. Even just for round numbers, you know.
Yeah.
If you turn the radio up in your car, you always have to put it onto an even number so that, you know, if it's on 13, you're going to have a crash or whatever. You know, all that superstition, that might be bad stuff here for Device. I'm not sure if he's a particularly superstitious guy, but
I mean, 30 beat 2 kills a round for 15 rounds straight.
It's pretty sick.
There to be some great symmetry. Now we're at 1.9 something. It just doesn't work as well. That's going to haunt me for a long time. I can't get over that.
Well, I think you might haunt CLG for a little bit longer than us, Anders. Not going to lie about that, because it's a 10-5 half-time here for TSM. Moving on to that CT side now, and well, often said that in this scenario, pistol, super important. Captain Obvious statement, really, but honestly, without that, CLG have got no chance this game.
That's what we're being paid for, Joe,
Exactly.
They must win this pistol. CLG, 4 armors, and Cajun already taking down Finesse because you don't have head armor in the pistol round. Hayes with a good reply there, dropping Device, so still being denied that 30. If they win the game without hitting 30, I don't know what to do. Cajun with a great shot on Hayes, then now it's on JDM and Tarek, and they do have the bomb, but they're 2 men down.
Yeah, already an almost unworkable scenario for them. As you mentioned, 2 armors between them, but therefore nothing in terms of grenades to work with. Even a smoke at this point would be a big factor for them, but up against 4 remaining players from TSM. Device, the only man to go down, who's still struggling to hit 30 kills. You see the shot there from Carrigan. We'll spot them. 2 CLG players pushing back down mid, and they're going to have a go at this B-bomb site. There are already 2 there, though, and the smoke, first of all, from Zipnix will be coming around. He's got a 5-7 in hand. They've killed off Carrigan as well, so doing well here so far, CLG on the entry, and they're going to get the bomb down as well.
It's actually very impressive. Not easy when you're that far behind in the round. If they kill Zipnix, this might be a big turnaround. He's got the 5-7 in the corner. That'll take him out, but then Cajun is there for another headshot. I think the 3rd of the round for him, and now Tarek hiding over by Flowers with a Glock in hand. Can he really do this 1v2? Charging out, taking a headshot of Dupree and running in there. Dupree still infusing, and CLG gonna win the round. Triple kill from Tarek. That's hugely unlikely. They bring it from a 2v4 into an actual victory by planting at B. That's very impressive for CLG.
As I said, an almost unworkable scenario. You've got to always have that little disclaimer in there, just so people don't say, Joe said it's impossible. What an idiot that guy is. But, CLG coming up big for that one. Rushing it off to that B-bomb site, and there's the lifeline, really, for them. I mean, they're only 4 rounds behind. The problem is that you just feel in this scenario, after a bit of a weaker CT side, I think it's fair to say, they need someone to do a Device to go absolutely mad in this second half. Maybe that person is someone like JDM. We'll have to figure that one out. But see, for TSM here, picking up armor. 3 of them got head armor as well.
I would definitely say you're right. Either JDM or Tarek, one of those 2 have to be the main driving force. Tarek did play out of his mind yesterday as well. So much so that some people were even saying, is he like an up-and-coming Shroud type figure in the NA scene? He seemed to have found a new level. So obviously consistency is always an issue, but you've got to hope that he's able to step it up. Now in the 17th round, we're down to about 35 seconds here. CLG are still playing this one very, very tightly, and they got to be careful that they don't completely run out of time. Dupree spots, I think, 2 there, and now CLG feel like that's the key to go. We've been found out, and they're going to push in.
Some decent damage done there by Dupree, but he's likely going to be picked off here. Device does get one. Cajun coming in though, again with a double up on balcony right now. And just like that, we're down to a 2 versus 2. There's Cajun landing the shots again. They're going to finish off Hayes. This is bad news for CLG. Only JDM left alive. MP7 in hand, he's smoked out and he's got no time left in this round. Device is going to take him down with the AK, and just when CLG fans thought they were on the comeback train, the train derails and crashes into a wall.
So that's what, CLG winning both pistol rounds and losing both follow-up rounds in either half. That's devastating. That is, you can't really easily come back from that. But it's also Device finally getting to plus 30 here. He got 2 kills in the round, so at least we've got that going on. But yes, this has to be the killing blow for CLG. If they make this comeback now, it will be one of the most impressive comebacks, not just in this tournament, but actually for a while. They're playing a very, very strong C-decided team on Inferno as well, so they should not be able to do this. And obviously this round is all, I want to say irrelevant, but it's close to. They've got no armor, they've got Glocks and no grenades either. Shouldn't be winnable here.
It's a massive what-if game as well for CLG, right? Like, we won both pistols, guys. Sadly, though, we lost both second rounds in each half. Like, it's only 11-6, despite the fact that Device has 31 kills after just 17 rounds played.
You could probably...
If CLG had have converted, this game would look a lot different.
It could be like 10-7 in favor of CLG instead of 11-6 in favor of TSM. It'd probably be like a 2-round swing on either half for this to work out. So yeah, it'd be a very big difference if they had actually followed up on it. Nice shot from Cutler to take down Sipniks up on the coils, but Carrigan in the background here just trying to stay alive. Backup is coming in and he's doing an alright job so far. There's Hayes going down, still a couple of bullets left and a headshot on Finesse as well, and Device will clear up at least one more. Actually, Carrigan did get the 3rd kill in there, so very nicely defended as well. Now, Joe, I don't know if my math is correct, but I think that the way this might play out is if TSM win this game, they obviously they get the vote kept in the Danish conspiracy camp.
What Danish conspiracy?
No,
Barry said there isn't one, and we believe Barry.
Well, maybe if Barry isn't quite right about that, they could pick Mouse and Envy, in which turn whoever wins that can't pick TSM again, as far as I know.
Yeah,
they
because
have to pick Renegades. I think they actually have to pick Renegades to play.
It's an interesting fact. We were kind of theory crafting how the whole picking would go this morning, but yeah, you're right. There is that technical rule in play that, you know, if you played already in the day and you've got the most played or whatever, you can't be picked, and then you have to pick one of the least played teams. So certainly going to be interesting from this one. And I wonder, you know, we were talking a lot about backstabbing and when that's going to start. We're in day 3. It's looking like CLG might be the first team out. If there was ever a time to start backstabbing, it's probably right about now. Especially since, you know, look at SK, they've got 2 lives left only. And let's be honest, they were pretty close to having just 1 life left yesterday, only beating Renegades in that overtime game on Cobblestone. That round, of course, was an eco there, so easy mop-up for TSM, but today's going to be interesting. We're going to lose a couple of teams today.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I think they ran into a 3-man stack over at B, so there's not much you can do. They ran into the Molotovs and the smokes as well, so kind of a tough deal there. 34 kills on Device here, and remember 29 of them were in the first half here. TSM merciless as well, pushing down the middle right when CLG are actually just trying to get a little bit of a foothold and retain some money, maybe get a couple of kills with these pistols here. They've got Cage and Dupree, so on that front things are going all right. Cutler and Finesse can't see them winning this round, so we're going to be at 14-6 probably. And I don't know, the comeback's so far away. I can't even think of a way they can put this together.
Yeah, it's always hard to imagine in this kind of scenario, right? Like 6 rounds, you need 10 in a row basically at this point for you to win the game without going towards an overtime, and you just don't know where that's going to come from at this point. We do have 2 men still alive here with Tech9s. They're not able to finish off Carrigan. He's going to pop flash out and actually goes down there to Cutler, but this Molotov alone is going to set things up for Sipniks. Finesse has only got 16 health remaining. He's going to get over to Grill, earn a little bit of money here, but will go down in the end, and actually didn't even get the bomb plant. It was close, but not even getting the money for that.
Bent over the grill once again.
Bent over the grill, Anders, indeed.
It's going to be the 21st round. Dupree's got the AWP, which in itself is a strange sight, but every time I talk to Dupree about this, he is 100% sure that if he was the main AWPer for this team, he'd be the best at it. So I've just given up arguing at that point. He's going to be playing against JDM, and for my money's worth, I think JDM will probably be able to best Dupree, although he does have his moments, so maybe there's some talent there yet to be developed for the Danish player. Looks like TSM again, CLG at it with a fairly slow round here. They do have 4 Molotovs, and if they went for a B push, it could be interesting.
Again, it'll be slow here for CLG. Must win round for them to even, fuel the train that might start to come back. At this point, it's a bit of a non-starter. Similar to most of my Deutsche Bahn experiences here in Germany, those non-starting trains, hours late, never to fail. And TSM, though, have lost Dupree here from the start. So CLG made a bit of an opening for themselves. Tarek going to take down Device as well. So this is a real winnable round for them. You just have to deal with Cajun and now Carrigan, who's come around onto side.
Good flashbang in from Carrigan there. Tarek going to go down, but JDM does get a return frag on Cajun. Carrigan with a second kill. Molotov's out, and this is dangerous. JDM and Cutler are low on health. He almost takes 4. That was nearly an ace from Carrigan. Look at how little health they've got left. And now Sipnix is in it at a 1 versus 3. The bomb is down. He's got Kit, Molotov, smoke, and flashbang. This could be an unreal clutch if Sipnix is able to do it.
So little health as well. He's got a molly, which, improper placement by CLG could lose all 3 of them at this point. And there's one. Easy kill for Zipnix, but he's of course not going to realize exactly how low they are, and seems like he's decided, you know what, I don't have time for this one. We'll be able to finish off Cutler here. We have JDM running away towards CT spawn. AWP in hand. We saw some smart after round placement really from him yesterday on Inferno as well, actually. Will survive and bring that AWP through. So CLG not done just yet, but it's a massive, massive comeback in order if they're to get back into this game.
I think you're right as well. I think the deciding difference there for Sipnix was the fact that he probably didn't know how low they were. The call, maybe Carrigan had no idea how much damage he'd done, so there was some sort, I don't even want to call it miscommunication, but just some information lacking on the TSM side, because otherwise Sipnix might have been inspired to try and do it, but he did play that round pretty well. I mean, there's 3 on 1, and he ended up taking out 2, which means CLG's money is still not that great even after winning the round. You can see Finesse there with a Galil instead of an AK. So now they are setting up, they've got apartments control, CLG. If they can force TSM back from the middle, kind of like what TSM were doing on the terrorist side, it gives them so many more options, and it means TSM will have a harder time getting the right stack at the right bomb site. So it's what CLG are trying to do right now, and Hayes, yeah, he's baiting that AWP shot, just shoulder peeking it.
Cajun also sat on the Swag 7 as well. We'll see what he can do with that one. This is one of those rounds where you're looking at CLG and thinking, okay, they might be able to edge this one out, keep that quote-unquote comeback going. But so far, they've got 30 seconds. They've, as you mentioned earlier on, got very early control of apartments, but done literally nothing with it. And there is Dupree taking down Hayes as well, and that's only going to really put the brakes on for them as he takes down Tarek as well. B-push will be coming in here. It's going to be Finesse carrying the bomb, and Zipnix will deal with him. And they're basically out of time here. They've got 10 seconds left to start that plant off. Flash comes in, Zipnix peeks out, Cutler goes down, and it's now all on JDM. He's going to go down as well. Perfect hold for TSM, but the question is really got to be put on CLG at that point. Early control of apartments, but so very slow after that one, basically killing their own round by being so slow and not making a move.
They made it very tough for themselves. They pushed 2 people into quad who both went down to Dupree, and what was upsetting about that is that they peaked one at a time, so they weren't both fighting Dupree, gave Dupree a lot of room to work with. Once he saw nobody else, they were able to rotate back towards Sipnix, who also did a great job of buying a lot of time. This is obviously do or die time here. Device and Carrigan each picking up a kill, and Dupree and Carrigan with a double, leaving JDM alone.
Well, Device is now on 38 kills as TSM are going to finish that one off. It's a 16-7 victory for them. More importantly, CLG losing their final life here at the tournament, here at the Intel Extreme Masters. They are now our first confirmed team out, of course, finishing now in 6th position. But TSM making that one look absolutely easy.
I can't believe it ended up that one-sided. Device, you're right, having a game of a lifetime here against CLG. Very, very tough fight for them. Now it's going to be interesting to see whether or not the Danish conspiracy will roll on here. I expect Envy and Mouse are up next.
Well, we're going to find that out here in just a little while. But first of all, I'm going to head over to Chobro and his other bros.
Thank you very much. Having a great time with my bros here at the panel, but not such a great time for CLG. They do lose their last life. They are confirmed now out from the tournament, 6th place at the Intel Extreme Masters here at Gamescom. But man, let's talk about just the overall result for a little bit. We can get back to the match later, but what a week for them, right? I mean, they're going these matches. I mean, yesterday they go 16-12, 16-13 against MVTSM, and they just didn't have that 2%, that 1% to close one out, have another chance, get a little extra prize money, maybe even get 5th, 4th, maybe even go higher by making alliances. They missed on those opportunities.
You know what, Chobra? That's the price of freedom. They just wanted to be free, and no alliances, and that's what you get. That's what you get.
That is,
they're not the American powerhouse. They can't come in here bossing everyone around. They just got destroyed. And you know, they've had a rough time of it. They played SK Gaming in the first game, which arguably they probably should have won against the On-Overpass, barring a few rounds.
Yeah.
But then they had TSM, NV, TSM. That's a rough road.
Yeah.
I think it tells a story of its own, the fact that they won most of the pistol rounds throughout the week.
Yeah.
But I think they had the worst ratio when it comes to 2nd and 3rd rounds, and anti-ecos in general as well. Like, they were terrible at playing against rounds where their opponents were playing Tech 9s and so forth. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives to take away from this as well.
Yeah,
they had
for sure.
pretty good CT sides, well, apart from this one here. I mean, 5
This
rounds.
one was
CT,
rough, yeah.
CT Inferno. You're more like looking at like 10 or so. 5 is definitely not enough. But generally speaking, they had pretty good moments when they were playing CT. But it's, like I've said over and over, it's their T side that still needs work. There's a good foundation. They have some good strategy there, diversity on both sides, but it's just that last push, like you said, the last few percentage is just missing every single time when they're doing the push.
Yeah, as Nacho was mentioning.
Statistically, like you said, probably the best knife rounds in the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
The best pistol rounds in the tournament. And probably the worst 2nd rounds in the tournament.
It's been rough. Like you said, there's definitely some shining spots, but those were also followed by a lot of shadows for CLG.
Yeah.
And I mean, but at the same time, Hayes was joking about it too. It's like, you know what? It's so apparent. We can't hide from that anymore. It's very apparent to us. It's very apparent to all those who watch that those shadows were there after the shining light. It's something that CLG needs to work on. Of course, we won't be able to see that for the rest of this week, not here at the Intel Extreme Masters, but maybe going forward, this is where they picked up those chances where they say we need to diversify our map pool. Speaking of map pools, ladies and gentlemen, the map vote is closing now for the next match. We don't have time to mourn for CLG because we've still got other hearts to knock off the chart here at Gamescom for the Intel Extreme Masters. It's time to find out who's gonna go forward in the next match of Day 3 on the stage with OJ.
Thank you very much, Cho and your bros. So, 6 become 5. Carrigan, you cruel, cruel man.
Yeah, well, you can say that.
It was one of those games where you started off and it just looked like it was going to be not easy, but it was going to be not a tough day at the office.
I mean, we started out losing the pistol and then we just regained momentum directly and just kept on going from there.
You're like an evil Hans Christian Andersen.
If you want to say that, right, you can do that.
Right, Carrigan, there are teams over there that maybe have one life, and everyone's been chatting beforehand. I think I know who you're going to pick to play the next game. Don't tell me right now, but maybe just give me a little look. Would I be right in thinking it is, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. Right, we're going to get to that in a second. So, here we go. It's map vote time. 8 maps are there, chosen by the community. What number?
Number 8.
Number 8, bottom right-hand corner. It is Dust 2. Gobby's like, choose me. Thank you very much to Enclet, who chose that one. Other maps up there, Cash, Overpass. Oh, lots of, 5 for Cash. Good dodge. Good dodge. So here we go then, Carrigan. Tell me the first team you're picking to play on Dust 2.
Mouse bots.
Whoa! Okay, that's just blown it out of the water. And who's playing mouse sports?
Envy us.
All right! I did not see that coming. Spongy's like, okay, that's cool. Mouse Sports, Envious. Just to ask you a question, who do you think is going to win that?
That's going to be a 50-50 in my opinion, but I'll cheer for Mouse Sports.
You're cheering for Mouse Sports, so it's a Danish-German alliance now. Right, we're going to see that. That's going to be an amazing game. Envious, Mouse Sports, they're going to play on Dust 2, and we'll see that after the break. You cruel man.